Hello, all you leaves and an angry wind out there, and welcome to Undeclared Bajor.
It's probably hard to hear the podcast if you're a leaf and an angry wind, I'm just saying.
Maybe. Yeah, that angry wind is probably pretty loud, so...
Generally, yeah.
But this is Undeclared Bajor, the best Star Trek DS9 discussion podcast. My name is Fletcher. About to say hello is Data.
Mellow greetings.
Today we're going to discuss Star Trek DS9, Season 7, Episode 19, Strange Bedfellows. Alternate title, Wayun 7 Goes to Heaven.
Does he, though?
I don't know. I don't know what his afterlife situation is. I'll just assume he has something good going on. I don't know.
I mean, they think the founders are gods, and the founders are here in this plane, so I don't know.
This is a good point. I don't know. But this episode originally aired April 21st, 1999. It was written by Ronald D. Moore and directed by Rene Auberjonois. And Sarah Clofton is not in the episode.
Nope, he sure is not. You know who else is not in the episode?
Well, I did notice that Odo only appears in Pa Wraith form.
Yep.
Was that the answer?
Yes, that was it.
Okay.
Real Odo is not here.
So Rene Auberjonois is in the episode, but
Yeah.
I guess he's busy behind the camera directing.
Presumably, yeah.
We will be discussing spoilers up through this episode, such as the one I gave in the alternate title, but not after this episode, so theoretically it should be safe to watch along with us if this is your first experience with Star Trek DS9. But we also spoil books, TV shows, or movies not related to Star Trek DS9, so watch out. Although we're so far behind releasing because of my laziness that any spoilers I could try to give, you would probably already know, so...
Dexter's not really dead. Is that a spoiler?
I mean... That's like the whole premise of the show, so...
Yeah.
I guess the existence of the new Dexter show would be a spoiler if you'd only known anything up through the last Dexter show, but...
The existence of a new Dexter show implies that there is a Dexter, and he's still Dextering.
Right.
It was a sequel to Dexter's Lab. There was some confusion in the advertising, but...
The casting of Michael C. Hall really did not help that situation.
No, yeah. Although, I mean, I could see it. You dye his hair red, and I think he could pull it off.
But Dexter kills Neil Patrick Harris. There's your spoiler.
Oh, no, not Neil Patrick Harris. The actor, beloved singer, dancer, comedian.
I thought that was really weird of them to go meta like that, but...
Well, I mean, it's Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle all over again.
Mm-hmm. But, okay, first things first, how would you rate the title, Strange Bedfellows?
Okay, so, first off, we know that the original title was going to be Eclipse. We've talked about that before now.
Wasn't the last episode going to be Eclipse?
No, it was Penumbra, and then Umbra, and then Eclipse, or Umbra, and then Penumbra, and then Eclipse.
Okay, so
this one was going to be Eclipse.
This one was going to be Eclipse, okay.
Also, do you know where the term Strange Bedfellows is referencing?
Is it like some kind of Shakespeare or something?
It is a Shakespeare play. It says, yep, The Tempest, which you should have been able to guess when randomly guessing Shakespeare plays.
Oh, yeah. That's an inside joke I will not bother to explain.
Stefano says, alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no other shelter hereabout. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. So, there you go.
Crawl under that gabardine.
I guess Strange Bedfellows is supposed to work on multiple levels with this episode. You've got like a hint back at what happened between Ezri and Worf. You have the new alliance between the Breen and the Dominion. You've got Dukat and Wynn. You've got then like Kira is wait, is that in this episode? Shoot, you may have to cut that part out. I don't remember everything that happens in each of the episodes. But anyway, I think that it's fairly clever in that it works on multiple levels in the episode.
Yep.
It doesn't stand out to me as memorable. Like, I don't remember what episode that goes to, and if you ask me to name an episode of Deep Space Nine with a gun to my head, this one would not come to mind. So, it doesn't stand out to me as a memorable title. I think it's fairly clever in this case, and I think it's appropriate. So, overall rating, fairly good title.
Yeah, I agree. I think for sure relevance very high, cleverness like B-. But yeah, memorability kind of weak, like a D.
Yeah.
But previously on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Ben and Cassidy got married. Dukat disguised himself as a Bajoran to make special friends with Kai Wen.
Yep.
And Ezri and Worf got taken prisoner by the Breen. Then they got taken over to a Dominion ship where Weyoun told them that the Breen and the Dominion are forming an alliance. Which we are told is really bad.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know that much about the Breen, except that everyone is scared of them.
Right. Up until now, we had no real context for what an alliance with the Breen would mean, but apparently it's a big deal. So
honestly, I'm surprised more Alpha Quadrant races haven't like jumped on this bandwagon. You know, like a new big kid on the block starts beating up every other large alliance in the Alpha Quadrant. It's like I really feel like the Cardassians should not have been the only ones getting in on that at the beginning or wanting to, and then and now the Breen. But I'm like, surely there's maybe I don't know about the Gorn, maybe like the Tholians. They're always up for some trouble, or some of those other like little powers that or like the Zenkethi.
Right.
I don't know that much about them. But then again, most of them probably wouldn't be super valuable to the Dominion, even if they wanted.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's true. You might want to get in on the ground floor of this whole Dominion thing, and then get in early, and then get a good share of the spoils. So, but yeah, so that's where we pick up. Weyoun instructs the Jem'Hadar to take Ezri and Worf to a shared holding cell so that they can physically comfort each other.
Yeah, but given what we see in their cell, like, I mean, they end up like Luke on Hoth. Like, what?
Right.
That was just a tease. Like, Weyoun, why you gotta be like that?
I don't think the Jem'Hadar really understood this assignment. So, or maybe, because the Jem'Hadar don't have women, so maybe they just don't quite understand how it works. It's like, do we have to hang them upside down for that to happen? Or
did you see the trailer or the clips or whatever for the new Starfleet Academy show?
I didn't. Well, maybe I did see it, but I did read something about there's a female Jem'Hadar on there.
From what I read, she may actually be a half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon, which just that only raises further questions, as it were.
Yeah, I just know because I saw a comment. Someone was like, "Hey, life finds a way," and then I was like, "Yeah, I mean, obviously the founders used frog DNA in their Jem'Hadar recipe."
You got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, they never actually said that the Jem'Hadar can't like have sex or reproduce. So I guess it's totally feasible that a Jem'Hadar man could have mated with a Klingon female.
It could happen. I just assume by the time this is set that they've made some changes.
So also, because Weyoun says he finds interspecies mating rituals fascinating to watch, which I don't think he understands that it won't happen if they know they're being watched. But
I mean, with some people it might. Probably not these two, but he doesn't know that.
Anyway, Worf is upset, so one of the Breen shocks him with a cattle prod, and Damar says, "Interesting device." So I guess Damar has never seen a cattle prod.
Yeah, I wonder if these are better or worse than Klingon pain sticks.
Then Weyoun motions to one of the Breen guys wearing an ever so slightly different uniform from the rest, and introduces him as Thought Gore. Damar asks if Thought is equivalent to a Cardassian legate, but Thought Gore just says something in Breen-ese and then walks off.
Yeah, apparently the universal translator's no good with Breen. I feel like we've addressed that before.
Have we? I don't know.
I mean, we've seen Breen before. I don't know if we've ever heard them talk. Like, that one just sat around a lot in the prison camp.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we didn't hear them talk until last episode, but I could be misremembering. Anyway, Damar asks Weyoun what Thought Gore said, and Weyoun says, he said you need to have your universal translator adjusted, and I can't tell if that's a joke or not. But also, can we, the audience, get our universal translator adjusted?
Right? Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, what is Thought Gore hearing? Is, like, if these two titles are equivalent, then did he just hear Damar go, like, oh, Thought, that's the same as a thought, right? And Thought Gore's like, oh, what an idiot.
I kind of thought maybe he just heard Damar speaking Cardassian, and he was like, this guy needs to get his translator adjusted. But who knows? But then Boom Boom Parkins comes to the bridge to meet Thought Gore. She's looking pretty bad from the changeling virus, but I guess she has just enough strength to put on a good face for this important meeting. And she says she can't wait to get this treaty signed, and Damar is like, hold up, treaty? And she says that this alliance will end this destructive war once and for all by allowing us to completely destroy the Federation. But once that destruction is complete, then there will be no more destruction.
Right. No. Though there will be no more destruction of things that we like. It's okay if other things are destroyed. That's fine.
Yeah. That's the implication.
It's like, Damar is offended that he hasn't seen any treaty or whatever. And I'm like, why would you think that you would get to see a treaty between, like, the leaders of the Dominion and another, like, race or whatever? Like, they've got lots of members back in the Gamma Quadrant who aren't involved in the treaties they make. Like, why do you think Cardassia is different? Like, you think they go to, like, the Dosai or whatever, and they're like, hey, you want to look over this treaty before we sign it? I don't think so.
Yeah, this is true.
Or the Karma. I don't remember if the Dosai were in there.
Damar is just, you know, not, he's not liking this whole arrangement. Later, Damar reads the alliance treaty, and he is not pleased. There's apparently a reference to territorial concessions to be made by the Cardassians to the Breen, but it doesn't say what those concessions are. And Weyoun says, don't worry about it. That's all spelled out in a secret other document. All you have to do is sign. And Damar is like, yeah, see, I'm getting that you don't really understand what my complaint is.
he thought that Weyoun's like, oh, you think that they can take whatever they want. No, we know what they're getting.
Right.
You don't, because it's a secret, and if we told you, it wouldn't be a secret. But we know, so it's fine.
So it's not vague. I know you're worried that, like, this vague language will make the treaty unenforceable, but no, we have it all ironed out. Don't worry. And honestly, they can't be any worse than the territorial concessions that you'll make once the Klingons and the Romulans have totally swallowed up the Cardassian Empire. But
I mean, that's true. Yeah.
For Damar, I guess it's the principle. He doesn't like the Dominion giving away Cardassian territory without Cardassian approval, but Weyoun brings up the good point that technically all Cardassian territory has already been ceded to the Dominion, so
yeah,
it's really kind of a moot point.
I mean, did you read the treaty that you guys already signed with the Dominion? Because it probably outlines this already, that they own you and can do whatever they want. But there's a note in here that says, of Weyoun's attempt to convince Damar that the Breen joining the Dominion is a good thing, Jeffrey Combs comments, that's the used car salesman in Weyoun. He slips into that persona easily. Look, don't worry about the details. I'm on your side here. I want you to have this car at a good price. Just sign here. You have nothing to worry about. You can trust me.
So, in other news, the Klingons have attacked Septimus III, and Damar is concerned that no reinforcements have been sent. Weyoun says, don't worry, we won't allow your brave soldiers to perish in vain.
Yeah, the way he says it.
Yeah, the suspiciously worded promise seems to stop Damar's complaints. For now.
I mean, maybe Damar's just drunk right now. But yeah, that's the vague language you should have been concerned about, quite honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, he's probably just drunk, but... back on Deep Space Nine, Martok and Sisko celebrate the impending capture of Septimus III. Then Martok says, oh, by the way, congrats on the wedding. Now your war at home begins. Then he tells the story about how when he first got married, his wife left the door open and allowed his beloved pet Targ to escape. Sisko has been married before, so he presumably knows plenty about marriage, but still it seems like Martok's story has gotten into his head.
It's true. He kind of does get into his head, but there's a great note in here. There was a very practical reason for the scene in this episode between Sisko and Martok. As Bear explains, the series was getting so fragmented that we wanted to remind people that Sisko had gotten married in the preceding episode. At the same time, we felt that Martok had been lost in the series for a while, and we wanted to bring him back in. It also served to replace the wedding scene that had been shifted to the previous episode. So you had this big gap to fill, I guess. So like,
sure.
I know, a Targ story. That's what we really need in this episode.
Need to fill up some time? Just have a character tell a story. Easy. Down in Kai Wynn's quarters, Wynn and, quote, Angel are hanging out in a bed and enjoying a nice fruit plate.
As you do.
Yeah. They talk about the upcoming and vaguely defined restoration of Bajor that Wynn will supposedly lead. She hopes she's up to the task, and Angel Cott gives her encouragement.
I don't like Angel Cott. That's not a good one.
You don't like that?
No.
Duke Angel? Duke Joel?
Duke Joel? Okay, that is worse. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, but he says anybody who opposes the will of the prophets must be dealt with, even those who claim to speak in their name, like a certain emissary. We definitely got to keep an eye on that guy. Not that I have a vendetta against him or anything like that.
No, but he's a foreigner. They're always coming here taking our jobs and stuff, so you got to watch out for him. Our emissary jobs.
Back on the Dominion ship, Worf and Ezri hang upside down in their holding cell and size up their situation as not looking great.
Well, except that it's doing wonders for her back, so there's that.
Oh, okay, true. However, it is looking less and less likely that they're going to get to do any of that physical comfort. In the Sisko household, Cassidy comes home to find Ben making dinner, and she talks about how being married to the emissary seems to have elevated her to some kind of spiritual leadership role among her Bajoran crew members.
It sucks to be a spiritual leader of a religion you don't believe in.
Yeah.
Like, that's awkward for everyone.
Yep. Yeah, and Ben's like, oh, well, on that subject, every year I do this ceremony for Bajoran women who want to become mothers, and this year I thought maybe you could do it. And Cassidy says, no, I don't believe in the prophets, and I'm not comfortable doing that. And then she goes to take a shower, and Ben says, so the battle begins. And then he puts a bunch of Tabasco sauce into the food.
I mean, I assume that he is too dedicated a chef to put that in there if it was not good for the dish.
You don't think he was just trying to spice it up as revenge for her not bowing to his wish to do the ceremony?
I mean, only if the spice made the dish taste better for someone who likes spice. We don't know what her spice tolerance is. So.
True. It was just kind of weird because he was looking at like a bottle of herbs or something, and then he puts it down and he like picks up the Tabasco bottle. I was like,
it's true. Yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, except the bottle he uses holds way more than a regular Tabasco bottle. It's a big one.
I mean, I just assumed that was what's in there because that's what it looked like. But
it does look like that, yeah.
On Cardassia Prime, Worf and Ezri are in a new holding cell, one where they don't have to hang upside down. Although those little cots still don't look super great for physical comfort.
No, not really.
They could probably make it work.
I mean, we've seen Ezri's bed back at the station, though, and I don't think that there's that much difference.
True, she's probably looking at that cot. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's my kind of bed." Worf works on getting a metal pin out of his cot, and Ezri tries to help, but they just get in each other's way, and Ezri bonks her head. Worf offers to take a look, but Ezri says, no, last time you touched me, things got out of control. And Worf says, yeah, you seduced me.
Seduced and betrayed. I was like, wow, that's a little harsh, Worf.
Yep. And Ezri's like, are you for real?
No, I love the exchange because she's like, I seduced you. And he's like, yes, I'm glad we agree. And it's just like, Worf, dude.
Worf is definitely, he's on his Worf stuff this episode.
Oh, he is. He is Worfing it up.
Yeah, and he says that obviously Ezri was trying to get into his pants from day one. So it's like, And then also this leads to Worf doing some slut shaming of his dead wife, which...
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, Which makes Esri mad, but their fight is interrupted when the door opens and Wei-Yun and Damar walk in to do kind of a half-assed good cop, bad cop routine. Wei-Yun says he was looking through their brain implant interrogations from the Breen, but they're not super helpful, mainly because they just say, "I love you, Julian," over and over. So he's like, okay, now the Cardassians are going to put you on trial for war crimes and execute you, but if you could help us out to end this war, we can make it life in prison. And Esri says, well, if you want the war over, why don't you just tell the founders to surrender? And then Wei-Yun says, well, it would be a shame for you to die without telling the good Dr. Bashir how you felt. And then Worf is like, okay, I'm tired of you being alive now. And then he snaps Wei-Yun's neck.
Yeah, like, Wei-Yun really gets closer than he should have. These are prisoners. You're at war. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Show some common sense.
The thing I enjoyed through this whole episode is, like, how much worse the Cardassians and the Jem'Hadar are at security than the Breen were.
Yep.
Where it's like, these guys are falling for every trick that Worf sets up.
Although, I just rewatched the moment where he gets his neck snapped, and, like, Wei-Yun's smile never falters as Worf grabs him. It's very strange.
Nice. But yeah, this Wei-Yun being killed delights Damar, who says, too bad they'll just make another Wei-Yun clone. Should have killed me, there's only one Damar. And I'm surprised Worf doesn't go okay and just snap his neck too.
Right, yeah, like, you're not that much further away than Wei-Yun was, my dude.
Back on Deep Space Nine, Wynn and that guy share a bottle of spring wine. And I begin to wonder if they really have any plans other than to just hang out, eating and drinking and having unpleasant to imagine sex.
No, I mean, they just gotta wait until the signs of whatever they're supposed to be doing, you know?
Sure. Wynn asks Angel, who are you? And he's like, oh, what? I'm not Gul Dukat, that's for sure.
Yeah, why would you even say something like that? Don't you see that I have no Cardassian neck ridges?
Mm-hmm. But no, she just wants to know about his childhood and stuff like that. And then the Pa-Wraiths are like, oh, okay, enough of this. This is getting boring. So they flash Kai Wynn into a vision and are like, all right, ready to help us defeat the false prophets and restore us to the Celestial Temple? And Wynn is like, oh yeah, totally, I'm in. And then they're like, okay, great. And we're the Pa-Wraiths, by the way.
I felt like they were like, they interrupted this conversation because they're like, oh crap, we didn't backstop Dukat like that thoroughly. So we better jump in here before he says something she can disprove.
Yeah, she's gonna start calling and checking references and stuff. This no, we can't be doing this. Then Wynn flashes out of the vision and is like, no. And then Angel's like, what's wrong? And she says, those guys aren't the prophets at all. They're the Pa-Wraiths. And then she tells Angel to go get Solbor and bring her the orb from the temple. I can't go there myself because I'm in my pajamas. I don't want to get dressed.
I am already in my pajamas.
Exactly. So Angel Cott walks down to the temple with a big smile on his face. Back on Cardassia, Damar is enjoying a bottle of Kanar when the new Wei-Yun strolls in. And then he starts laughing, and Wei-Yun is like, haha, yes, I died and I had to get cloned. Very funny. Can we execute those guys now? And Damar says, no, we have to do the phony show trial first.
Yeah, it's very important. Cardassian justice must be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sham of a justice system, but it's all we got.
I do love the line, maybe you should try talking to Worf again.
Yep.
Like, it's a great moment.
Yeah, Wayne's like, are they going to cooperate? He's like, no, you go ask Worf again. Then Thought Gore shows up with some other Breen guys and says, I assume, hey, you mind if we rifle through your secret files? And Wayne says, sure, look through all the secret files you want. But Damar's like, whoa, hold on. And then Wayne is like, no, it's cool. Boom Boom Parkin said they could. Oh, and also, she's tired of talking to you, so if you want to tell her anything, she said to just tell Thought Gore, and then he'll tell her.
Yeah, that feels like he's taken Wei-Yun's spot a little bit. I don't know, that's a bit weird. But I felt like the Breen were just like, we're real tired of you having this nice, like, war command center, and there's never anybody here, so we're going to go ahead and, like, use it, right?
No, Thought Gore is, like, easily my new favorite character. Like, he's just so obviously conning everybody, just, like, so obviously and so brazenly. Yeah, so, Wei-Yun tells Damar all this stuff, and he's like, yeah, if you don't like it, you can schedule an execution for yourself. And Damara's like, yeah, I'll schedule an execution for 1,000,000 years from now.
And with the way the Cardassian justice system works, you can't change that once it's on the schedule.
Right, exactly. Meanwhile, Worf and Ezri have gotten their cot disassembled. Ezri uses the metal pin to pick the lock on the door, and Worf has removed the leg of the cot to use as a bonking stick. They get the door open and easily take out the guard with a good bonk.
Oh yeah, they bonk him good. Very effective bonk.
So once again, obviously the Cardassians are not as good at security as the Breen were. Then Worf and Ezri fight their way down the hallway, but unfortunately Worf takes a hit to the leg. He tells Ezri to leave him, but she's like, shut up. And she picks him up, but sadly they don't make it far before they're surrounded by Cardassians. Back on the station at Quark's, Quark pours a drink for Ezri and leaves it on the bar while O'Brien and Bashir watch. This is apparently a daily routine for Quark, who wants to have a drink ready and waiting for Ezri when she finally returns to the station. O'Brien says he finds the whole thing morbid, and Quark says that implies you think she's not coming back, and O'Brien says, I'm not implying anything. She's 100% dead. And Bashir says, it's too bad. I was just starting to, and then he starts rambling about how much he liked Ezri and stuff, and then he walks off, and then O'Brien just sits there like, duh.
Apparently, in the script, there's a bit that was not shot, which I assume goes here, it doesn't specify, but where Miles O'Brien refers to the events of Prodigal Daughter when talking about Ezri. So I guess, I feel that must be here.
Oh, sure. Well, this is the only scene that O'Brien's in, so...
Yeah. There's also 2 scenes that were filmed but did not make it into the final cut. And so I guess we can try to figure out if we could tell where those would have gone. One is Kira tells Cassidy that even though her father wasn't a religious man, he attended services because he loved her mother, and she was religious.
Okay.
And then Cassidy surprises Sisko during the blessing ceremony and concludes the ceremony for him.
That sure does add a whole new, direction to that story.
Yeah, as opposed to in the current episode where it's just like, okay, you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah, he's just like, it's like, you know what, that stuff is not for me. It's like, all right. So, in Wynn's quarters, Wynn and Angelcott are waiting impatiently for the orb, and then Solbor shows up with the orb of prophecy. Solbor lingers and asks if there's any way he can help, obviously hoping for a tip, but Wynn just dismisses him. Then Kai Wynn opens the orb and braces for divine communion with the prophets, but nothing happens.
I mean, apparently she's never talked to them before, so I don't know why she assumes this time it's going to be different.
Yeah, Wynn decides that the prophets have forsaken her, although I don't think you can really call it forsaking when they never spoke to her to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not sure they know who you are, lady.
Yeah. Then Angel says, okay, well, I have something to confess. I actually think the Pa Wraiths are pretty great, and I've been working with them this whole time. This upsets Wynn, who does a hilarious double fist pound on Angelcott's chest, and then Angel goes on to make the case that when you really think about it, the prophets kind of suck. It's like, we had the occupation, we had Ben Sisko as the emissary, and he's like, okay, look, let's be real. If you're honest, all you really care about is fame and glory and the adoration of the people. The Pa Wraiths are the ones that can give that to you. But this makes Wynn really mad, and she just tells Angel to get out. And then Angel's like, okay, crawl back to your lame prophets, have fun playing second fiddle to Sisko some more, and then he leaves.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Then Wynn gets on the floor and prays passionately to the now closed orb, but she gets nothing. So she calls Kira to come to her quarters, and she tells Kira, I have often sensed that you don't approve of how I conduct myself as Kai, that I put my own political interests ahead of the spiritual well-being of the people. And Kira just sits there staring at this incredibly accurate assessment. She's like, you're right, when you tried to have my boyfriend assassinated, I did not approve of that conduct.
I mean, she's done a lot of messed up stuff.
Right.
Like, there was that time that she helped sponsor, a coup, which Kira probably could never actually prove that, but kind of knew about it. And then, Frankensteined her boyfriend, and Kai Wynn has done a bunch of messed up shit.
Yeah. I have to say, it's a pretty fair assessment that someone might not approve of her conduct as Kai.
But honestly, Kira's reaction in this scene is just, I feel like, incredibly generous. Where she's just like, hey, you can come back. You can make better choices. Like, I hate you and you've done horrifying things to me personally, but I will still support you, like, getting on a good path.
Yeah, well, I mean, at first she's just all stony faced and looking at Kai Wen like, what are you getting at? But yeah. Wen says she's ready to change and do whatever it takes to earn the Prophet's forgiveness. And Kira says, well, it seems to me if your lust for power has alienated you from the Prophets, that's what you need to give up. And Wen says, oh yes, absolutely. That's exactly what my problem is. And Kira says, all right, then you'll step down as Kai. And then Wen is like, whoa, step down as Kai. How did you get that from my pledge to renounce the temptations of power? And Kira's like, what are we even talking about then? And then she's like, okay, whatever, I'm out of here.
Like, after all this discussion about how, like, you know, she hasn't spoken to the Prophets, she's really upset. Win is like, I mean, if the Prophets wanted me to step down, I'm sure they would have said something.
So yeah, at that point, it's just like, okay, there's really no helping you. Like, but back on Cardassia, Damar finds Weyoun and Thought Gore laughing it up, and Weyoun says, "You got to hear this. Thought Gore was just pointing out some weaknesses in the Romulan defenses." Some really hilarious weaknesses.
Yep. I often find it funny when my enemy has weak lines, so, you know.
Mm-hmm. Damar goes to check his email while Weyoun keeps talking about the opportunity for attack in the Unroth system or whatever. And then Damar is like, hold on. Septimus III has fallen. 500,000 Cardassian soldiers have been wiped out. I thought you were going to send reinforcements. And Weyoun says, no, I said their sacrifice wouldn't be in vain. And it wasn't. They died so that the Klingons would have to commit tons of resources to taking a strategically worthless planet.
Yeah. I love Damar's like, you promised reinforcements. I'm like, dude, no, he didn't. And Weyoun's like, I did not. I said it would be dealt with. We dealt with it by doing nothing. The easiest way to deal with the problems.
I think this might be confirmation of the drunk Damar theory. So, and then Damar says, well, how many sacrifices will my people be required to make? And Weyoun says, whoa, your people. We are all one people in the Dominion, except for the Founders. Vorda, Cardassian, Jem'Hadar, Breen. And then when he says Breen, Thought Gore is like, oh yeah, totally, the Breen. Yeah, we're in. And then Weyoun turns to go back to his Unroth system plans, and then Damar seethes and storms off, and Thought Gore is like, I think that guy might be a little disgruntled. And Weyoun is just like, yeah, he sucks.
No, I love the line, like, Thought Gore says a thing, and Weyoun's like, yeah, it's getting harder and harder to get a full day's work out of him. So it's like, Thought Gore was like, what, he's leaving already? Didn't he just get here? As if that whole conversation, like, didn't just happen.
What did he call it? Coffee badging?
Yeah, exactly. He's coffee badging. It's disgraceful, really.
Damar is totally coffee badging. We're gonna have a meeting with him about that. Yep. So Damar goes home to do some drinking, but he makes the mistake of doing it in front of the mirror. So this mirror drinking problem is really a thing for Damar, but this causes him to throw a glass full of Kanar at the mirror.
And then it's not a problem.
Yeah. So, I don't have to look at myself anymore. I no longer loathe myself. In the holding cell, Ezri is like, well, after 300 years, I'm the one who gets the Dax symbiote killed. Good job, me. And Worf says, there is no honor in self-pity. And Ezri is like, dude, shut the fuck up. Do you not remember me single-handedly rescuing you from the Badlands? And Worf says, yeah, but you only did that because you wanted to get on this dick. This is essentially what he says.
Yeah, and she has to retort that it's like, no offense, but it wasn't that good. Like,
yeah, she's like, yeah, I did not risk my life for that.
And she's like, and I used to be your wife, so I would know whether it was going to be good. So, just saying.
I knew exactly what I was going to get, and that's what I got. That's what I'm going to say. But then she turns on counselor mode and says, is it possible you're just working through some guilt because you don't have the same feelings for me that you did for Jadzia? And this obviously gets to Worf, who says, okay, you know what? Let's just stop talking and get ready for the next life.
And then he waits till she's asleep to go, fine, you were right.
Right, yeah. I assume he sits up thinking about this all night. And then when the morning comes, he wakes her up and says, yeah, you were right. He says he doesn't love Ezri. He dishonored himself, although he admits that he perhaps uses that word too much.
You don't
which
say.
I found pretty hilarious. Yeah. And he admits that when he hooked up with Ezri, he was giving in to less than spiritual impulses.
Hey, no shade, man. I get it.
We all have less than spiritual impulses. Yep. That's just life. But Ezri says she didn't realize her feelings for Julian until the torture brought them out, which kind of makes me wonder how true these feelings are, but whatever.
Maybe she's just into that kind of thing, you know? No judgment.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, Worf says, okay, no, it's all cool. I'm not mad at you or Dr. Bashir. It's all good. And they shake hands and agree to be friends. And then Worf is like, all right, glad we talked that out. Nothing to do now but get executed. And just then, Damar shows up with a couple of Jem'Hadar and says, it's time. Time for you to escape. And then he shoots the Jem'Hadar and gives their guns to Worf and Ezri. And he tells them to go back to Deep Space Nine and tell the Federation it has a friend on Cardassia. Cool, what's his name? Oh, you mean you? Okay, got it.
You got one of those classic exchanges where Worf's like, why should we trust you? And he's like, well, I mean, if I wanted to kill you, we would have just taken you to the execution. So you
were literally on your way to the electric chair.
Yeah, like you can trust me, or you can, I guess, continue to go to the execution room, whichever you prefer.
Yeah. I would hate for you to not be able to trust me, so let's just go back to the let's just go back to execution.
Yeah.
And then Ezri's like, okay, yeah, no, we're good. We trust you.
Ezri's like, I trust him. It's fine.
And then we cut to Weyoun going, what? Escaped? And Thought Gore's like, dude, your security sucks.
Well, and Damar comes back. It's like, hey, you're the one who put the Jem'Hadar in charge of the prisoners. Like the Cardassians were in charge, and they caught them when they escaped. And I guess at some point after that, Weyoun was like, that's pretty shady. Those guys almost got away. We better put Jem'Hadar in charge.
Uh-huh. But back on Deep Space Nine, Solbor exasperatedly shows Angel Cott back into Wynn's quarters. And then Wynn tells Angel the story of the first time she saw the wormhole, and everyone said they felt the love of the prophets coming out of it. But she felt nothing, so she just pretended. And then she bitterly talks about how the prophets have never given her anything, and now they expect her to step down as Kai? And Angel's like, yeah, totally agree, the prophets suck.
They never gave you anything except spiritual leadership over all of Bajor, the thing that you wanted most, but whatever.
Yep. Wynn is like, that is why I have decided to serve the Pa Wraiths. In fact, I've decided to go full evil. The Federation, the Emissary, all those people I don't like. I'm taking them all out. They will all be swept aside like dead leaves before an angry wind.
I assume is what the Pa Wraiths will do,
right?
She says. Like, I don't know the details, but I figure that they'll be with me on this.
Yep. And Dukat is like, wow, this is going even better than I expected. The end.
I mean, yeah, that much of a turn, it's hard to have predicted that.
I imagine he had like this whole 15-point plan about how he would gradually, like, incrementally move her over to evil. But she's just like, I will destroy them all. And he's like, oh, all right.
Sweet. The note from Ira Stephen Bear is that this episode is pivotal for Kai Wynn's overall arc.
Well, yeah, I'd say so.
Who would have thought? He says, Wynn is a total loss. She just doesn't get it. She thinks she's going to get it. That's the key. It's intricate stuff. You think maybe she's going to get it, but she just can't get it.
That's a pretty good description of what happens.
Yeah, right? Now, on the other side of this, he also talks about Dukat. And he says, Marco Lamo never wavered from his belief that, at heart, Dukat was an okay guy. He developed this theory during the third season episode Defiant, a landmark show in terms of rendering Dukat a more ambiguous character from a moral standpoint. And despite that all Dukat had done, Alemo still felt there was some good in him. He says, in Mark's mind, I believe he felt his relationship with Wynn was legitimate in some way, and that in some wacky fashion, it was Dukat's bid for legitimacy. Until the very end, he wanted Dukat to be the hero of Deep Space Nine.
He was just holding out for that like finale reveal that Dukat was right all along. And
Yeah, turns out the Pa Wraiths are the good guys, and Sisko has been wrong the entire time.
Yep. At the end, Dukat helps Sisko pray to the Pa Wraiths and get saved into the Pa Wraith religion.
Yep.
And then the credits
Good
roll.
times. There's also a note about Damar, which I meant to hit a minute ago, but it says, after Damar ceases drinking, he appears to be lit in a different manner, with less harsh lighting and softer shadow around the face, giving him a warmer look than before.
I did not notice that, but all right. Like, did Rene Auberjonois do that on purpose, or
I maybe, yeah.
It just says appears to be.
Yeah. There's several notes about Damar's turn here. Let's see, Damar becoming a hero was a popular plotline among the fans, who found it somewhat unexpected. But Hans Beimler agrees the seeds for this 180 shift in attitude can be traced back to the 6th season episode Behind the Lines, where it was first established he's a heavy drinker. He says, Ira has really good instincts, even when he doesn't know why he wants to do something. It was his idea to make Damar a drinker, but he didn't know back then that he wanted to make him a hero. It was answering the question, why is Damar drinking so much, that led us there.
Sure.
Damar had a conscience, and that ultimately told us where we needed to go.
Bravo, Ira.
However, Hans Beimler also says that from the very start, Damar was always destined to go places. You know, he's a very small character when he first shows up. But he's like, when we decided on Casey Biggs for the role, we cast somebody who was better than that role. That meant we could expand the role from what it originally was.
Yeah.
And then Ira, Stephen Bear says, the fact was that we could take this character who started with 2 lines over the course of a few years and turn him into a complicated character.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, he was just the guy who stands next to Dukat, so.
Yeah, he's Dukat's hype man.
Uh-huh.
And weirdly, like, even when Dukat shows up, like, recently, it seems like he's never lost his loyalty to Dukat.
Yeah.
Which is impressive if misplaced.
And Dukat has totally forgiven him for killing his daughter, so.
Yeah.
That's nice.
You know, the love of the Pa Wraith can do a lot, I guess. No one was happier with Damar's transformation than actor Casey Biggs, who says, they started to turn me into a comic book hero. I got to step out of the shadows and save the day.
Sure, nice.
So, yeah, there you go. Everyone's happy about this shift in Damar.
Yeah.
Which, if you believe that, will lead to good things. Spoiler? But, so okay. 2 other notes about the episode on the whole. First off, we know Ron Moore's the credited writer, right?
Sure.
During the writing of this episode, Ron Moore's wife went into labor a month earlier than expected, and Moore had to take a week off.
Oh.
This threw the writing schedule into chaos, and forced Ira Behr and Hans Beimler, who were working on The Changing Face of Evil, and Renee Echevarria, who was working on Penumbra, to abandon their own episodes and complete the writing of this one. Behr says, it got very hectic.
Yeah. That does sound like a... it's like, how dare his wife go into premature labor?
Yeah, she's not considered at all. We're trying to finish off this show, man.
Doesn't she know we have this elaborate, like, writing schedule worked out?
At least they're not, like, calling him in the delivery room. Like, hey, we need a few more pages. Yeah, the day that my wife gave birth to twins, like, that evening, I'd already set up with my boss, you know, I'm starting my leave, you know, got all the stuff done, headed out. That evening, I'm sitting at the hospital, and one of my coworkers calls, and it's like, hey, our boss is taking people out for drinks tonight, and you really should be there. It's going to be like a big, you know, bonding thing for our area.
Huh.
And I was just like, you're aware that we just had twins today, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, and they're like in intensive care, and my wife's in the hospital. He's like, well, yeah, but you don't need to be there, do you? And then I hung up on him.
Yeah.
So it's
that's the correct move. That's the correct move.
Yeah. So you know, I'm hoping that that Ronald Moore's coworkers were a little bit less crappy. Even when they were in this big crunch to finish these episodes.
Ira Stephen Bear was like calling him up. He's like, can you just like say some lines that I can write down?
What kind of thing would Worf say here?
Right. I don't know. Then he says, you dishonor yourself. So, oh, that's good.
Raul D. Moore's like, leave me alone or I'm going to snap your neck. And he's like, oh, yeah, snapping necks. Good, good. The final note for this episode is that it was during the shooting of this episode that a joke was spawned at the expense of the Breen. So,
okay.
The question is, how do you defeat a Breen? Do you have any guesses about the punchline of the joke before we get there?
I don't know. Cut his feet off?
You ask him to walk across the room. So, Assistant Director B.C. Cameron explains, we were working on Strange Bedfellows, and it was the last scene of the day. Everybody was tired, we were shooting on the Dominion ship's bridge, and the female shapeshifter was supposed to walk in and be introduced to the Breen commander. So I went over to the Breen background extras and told one of them, a guy named Wade Kelly, to walk across the set and go out the door when we start rolling. But the minute we rolled camera, I realized I'd made a terrible mistake. Poor Wade couldn't see, but he was determined to give it a shot. So sure enough, he gets to an angled piece of set wall that was sticking out, and he trips, hitting the wall with a big clunk.
Ouch.
Then he tries to see if he can find his way past the thing, but he keeps going clunk, clunk, clunk. And I'm thinking, stop, Wade, just stop. But he keeps going. And finally he gets past the piece of wall and heads for the doorway. But he forgets that there's a threshold there, and he trips over it and then grabs the wall trying to hang on and finally gets out the door.
Nice. I hope they got that on camera.
Right? Yeah, he says, by this time I can't see him, but I hear this huge noise like he's ricocheting off the walls out there like a big pinball machine. It's the funniest moment of the entire series. So now I have to see if I can, if nice. This is a clip that's out there.
At least he was wearing a helmet.
DS9, Breen. And I don't see any videos of such a thing.
They got to put that out. That sounds good.
Maybe it's like a DVD extra. I have the DVDs actually, but yeah, that's great.
See if we can find it in the outtakes.
I love that this assistant director is over here. He's like, yeah, we need some good background action. Why don't you just walk over there? And the guy doesn't say like, I literally can't see. He's like, hey, the director told me to do it. I'm going to do it. Good on you, Wade.
I did like in the part where Damar first meets Thought Gore, and then Thought Gore tells him he needs his universal translator tuned. And then Thought Gore walks out of frame, which kind of makes it look like he leaves the room or something. But then later we cut to Boom Boom Parkins getting ready to enter the room. Then we cut back to the bridge, and it's a wider shot, and Thought Gore is still standing right there. So it's like he just kind of walked slightly farther away from Damar so that he wouldn't have to talk to him.
Can you blame him, really?
Yeah. Come on. It's like, this guy smells like booze. I can smell it through my Breen helmet. All right, so we'll go into reviews. What did you think of this episode? I'll tell you what I thought.
I got you.
I mean, everything I have is mostly positive, so I'm glad to see the Worf and Ezri business resolved. I feel like that went on way too long. I didn't necessarily... I liked some of the good, barbs Ezri got in at Worf. I don't know if I necessarily liked seeing, that whole drama keep going, but at the end, they shook hands, and they were like, let's stop doing this stupid storyline now. And I was like, yay. I was very happy to see Kai Wynn go full evil mode. I was happy to see Damar go good mode, apparently. So... I mean, things seem to be pretty nicely set up now. I'm really on board for this whole ongoing story. But the thing is, as an individual episode, I don't know. It's just we're having that problem where it's we're starting to review the parts that are bigger. They're part of a bigger whole. So I don't know. At first I was gonna say Lieutenant Commander, but I think the more I talk about it, the more I think about it. I think so much stuff happens in this episode that is very relevant to the story and pulls you into the story. I'm gonna go ahead and say full Commander for this episode.
Okay.
What do you think?
Look, if this episode suffers from anything, it is the fact that it is the third episode in a row of setup.
True.
We're still positioning people to be where we want them, and we're wrapping up some, like you said, we wrap up the Worf and Ezri BS, which has been going on some level all season, where he's ignoring her.
Yeah,
but has been more intense since they slept together, 2 episodes ago or 1 episode, however long ago it was. And I am so glad to be done with this.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Like, but it really feels like this entire Worf was lost in battle. Ezri goes to save him. They get captured. They become prisoners. All of it feels really pointless. It's like the only thing that the show was trying to get was the Federation needed someone to come and let them know, A, there's a new alliance with the Breen, B, that Damar might be on their side.
Uh-huh.
Like, sure, along the way, we sorted out the character drama, which, like I said, I do appreciate, but it feels kind of anticlimactic. Their entire storyline is just like, okay, you go home now.
Right.
And let them know that I'm kind of cool. Like, no detail about what Damar wants. There's not even like, here's a secret comm channel to contact me on.
He's like, here's my phone number.
It's just like, hey, can we be friends now? Bye. So it's a little bit frustrating in that aspect. But at the same time, I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad to be rid of the character drama. It did lead to some fun stuff. Like you said, there's some quips between them. I love the moment when Worf snaps Wayne's neck.
Oh, yeah.
Great bit of business. There's all sorts of good stuff that we good bits and pieces we get out of that, even if overall it ends up feeling a little bit pointless. So I like the progress we're making with the Dominion storyline. We're bringing in the Breen, we're shaking stuff up, and we found that out at the end of the previous episode. Now we're starting to see the ripples, the ramifications of this new alliance. And they're more extreme than maybe we kind of imagined, and they're leading to some interesting things. So it's all still set up, but it's stuff that I'm enjoying seeing set up,
right? And
that is setting up potentially interesting things. So I like that. I like all that. Most of the stuff on the station that's not Dukat and Wynn all seem kind of perfunctory. Like, oh, we need to get Cisco in here for a minute. We need to get O'Brien and Bashir in here for a minute,
right?
Just so that you don't forget that they exist and we have to pay them. So that's all just like, It is nice we've been building this Kai Win thing with Dukat for a couple episodes too, and now we're starting to like pay off that setup a little bit. It's really just kind of like moving pieces around. We're still setting up for what they're going to do, but we had to get them there. So fine. So it suffers from being just like I said, the third episode of setup. It's starting to feel a little lengthy now. But at the same time, we're paying off some stuff, and I like a lot of what we're getting. I feel like it feels better. It feels more relevant and stronger than the previous two episodes of setup, because now we're finally like getting stuff where it needs to be. We're paying off. We're able to pay off some stuff incrementally. So I was also between Lieutenant Commander and Commander, and overall, I think there's enough good in here that I would also go Commander.
Nice. Yeah. I think that neck snap is worth Commander by itself. Like,
and Thought Gore,
Oh, yeah.
He's bringing it.
I find him quite entertaining. But I guess we can wrap it up there, unless you have any final thoughts.
No, I'm good.
So, yep. That's our discussion of Strange Bedfellows. Thank you for listening. If you like that one, maybe you'll like our discussion of... I was trying to think of a good episode. Maybe like The Reckoning, or the... what was that Damar episode we mentioned?
Defiant.
Well, no, Defiant was the Dukat episode.
Yeah.
You can listen to that review, too. I mean, we got them all.
Listen to our reviews of episodes like Penumbra? Yeah, it was Penumbra. Right?
Penumbra, and then we never got Umbra. We got... I don't even remember what it was.
So go back and listen to that one from 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, sure. Or just stop this episode and replay to the beginning. Just listen to this one again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
But
maybe you'll get some of the inside jokes we made at the beginning. You won't. It's fine.
But whatever you want to watch, you can find them wherever you're listening to this. And you can even go to the YouTube channel if that's not where you already are. And you can leave us a comment and we might see it. So, but anyway, my name is Fletcher. About to say goodbye is Data.
See ya.
We look forward to seeing you next week on Undeclared Bajor. But just remember, you have a friend on Cardassia. Or on
Nice.
Undeclared Bajor.
You got a friend, a Cardassia. It doesn't work as well.